Hey there, are you ready to build a fitness business that becomes a true income-producing asset? Then I welcome you to the Fitness Business Freedom Show, brought to you by Fitness Revolution. I am your host, Justin Hanover, and we have over 15 years of experience building thriving fitness businesses, and we are committed to sharing our knowledge and expertise with you. You can expect to hear proven business foundations and frameworks, success stories from our coaching partners, and guest experts to give you straight answers for your biggest questions. It doesn't matter if you have an online business, fitness facility, or operate as an independent trainer, you are in the right place to grow your business and create the personal freedom you desire. Welcome to today's episode. I'm your host, Justin Hanover, success coach with Fitness Revolution. Now, before we dive into today's episode, I just want to tell you a little bit about who I have joining me and what you can expect to hear. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Cory Cripe. Cory graduated from UW La Crosse in 2001 with a BS in exercise and sports science and an emphasis in fitness with a concentration in strength and conditioning. He has accumulated over 20 years of professional experience in the fitness industry, from managing gyms, being a fitness coach, training people with disabilities, and a pretty sweet internship with the Chicago Bulls strength and conditioning staff. It has been his dream and vision to provide more accessible and less intimidating means for people to become stronger and more resilient for the life outside the gym. And he has been living that dream at Fitness Lying Down since 2014, being able to offer these opportunities of growing stronger and moving better for our clients and watching their success as a result. In this episode, Cory hit on a major hot topic for gym owners: chasing the shiny object and going after quick money. He explains how by doing that you are losing your identity, and it ultimately crumbles what foundation you could have had. So let's dive into this and learn more about the power of patience in my talk today with Cory. So today's episode is brought to you by Fitness Revolution. So you started your fitness business and you've been in the game now for a few years. You might have even seen some good growth over those years, but now you feel stuck. You feel like the momentum you once had isn't there and you don't know how to get it back. Should you be focusing on your marketing, your sales, your team? What is the next bottleneck to focus on that will allow you to break the chains holding you back? This is a great question. And one of the biggest skills as an owner is to be able to understand and identify the next biggest issue to keep your business moving forward. And this is exactly why Fitness Revolution has created our proprietary needs assessment to allow you to quickly see where your business stacks up and receive immediate feedback on what to focus on next. It's a quick 10-question assessment that will allow you to be able to provide valuable feedback to where your current business stands and to help you get past sticking points to hit your next goal. Whether you feel stuck, frustrated with your current progress, or just want to dial in what's currently working, this is an assessment that will allow that to happen and help you take that next first step. I invite you to head over to our show notes where a direct link to the needs assessment will be, so you can easily access it there. On that note, let's jump into today's show. Cory, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and to spend it with us and helping other gym owners succeed.
Absolutely. Thanks for inviting me.
It's our pleasure. So let's start with giving our listeners some context as to who you are and kind of like the 1,000-foot view of how you got into your business and what it looks like now.
Sure. So, if we're going 1,000, well, let's go up 5,000. So I'm going to try to make this as brief as I can, but give you the details. Where do we start? I grew up kind of like the chubby kid, and I was inspired to work out and lift weights because I wanted to play football and I wanted to get in shape. And I think just being a young male, the testosterone's flying anyway. But once I started working out, I started getting more confident. I started seeing the differences in my body. I felt stronger. And I was able to, as far as I could tell, I was able to play the football better. I was just stronger and ready for it. Now, was that because of the weights or because of growth spurts and testosterone and growing? I don't know. But I really did fall in love with traditional weightlifting, a lot of the kind of the bodybuilding style things. And, let's remember that there was a time before the internet, before YouTube and Google, where you actually had to read things. And you had to interview people too. I remember I belonged to this basement gym for most of my middle school and high school career of working out. The school that I was at, the high school, actually had a decent weight room, but I just loved this basement gym because you're just working out with these just hard guys, right? These ladies that are just lifting weight. Like everybody was really serious about getting stronger and bigger. And so again, before the internet, before you could sit there and follow your trenders and your what do they call them? The
influencers.
The influencers, yes. You see, I'm not an influencer, so I don't know what you call them. But, you went up to somebody, like I see somebody squatting a lot of weight. I'd go up to them like, man, tell me, like, what do you do? And you become just a wealth of being a student, right? And you gain this wealth of knowledge. So I graduated. It was a small school. I went to UW Wisconsin La Crosse. So a very small school inside the UW system. And I went, and I really didn't know what to do. I mean, the first person in my family to do a 4-year college, I had no idea what college was about. I just knew that I didn't want to be in my small town anymore. And I remember signing up, registering for classes, and being asked, like, what were you good at in high school? And I said, well, I did pretty good in biology and chemistry. There's a couple of things I could think about. And like, well, we'll make you a biochem major. I'm like, that sounds great. And then after my first semester, and I was only doing like a minimum, like 12 credit load, with all the labs and the lectures already and the hours dedicated, I'm like, I just can't do this. This is not me. And so I switched majors right away. And then I'm just still like trying to figure out what should I do. And somehow I was blessed enough to stumble upon the fact that UW La Crosse actually has a pretty outstanding fitness program with a concentration in strength conditioning. And I was like, wow, I can actually do this. And so I applied to that. I got in. And I made my way into there. And yeah, that's where I really, because I was always interested in working out. And, actually I went to La Crosse, I did have an agenda. I wanted to become a physical therapist. I thought being a physical therapist would be great. I don't know what they got that for me. I think I felt like it was like a medical thing with the weights. You're going to be a medical professional, but you're going to be lifting weights, exercises, things like that. Well, once I found out that it's like another 8 years of college, I was like, no, another 8 years of schooling. It's like after 12 years of school, I'm done. I don't want to sound like a slacker, but I just wanted to get the minimum requirements so I can get on with my life. And so, yeah, fast forward.
I completely relate.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. It's amazing. Like sometimes the traps that we fall in college and we don't know what to do yet. But yeah, so, and then one of my highlights of my college career is that at UW La Crosse, in order to graduate with the program, you had to have a full-time internship. So it didn't have to be paid. It could be paid depending on who you're with. And I was fortunate enough to be a part of the Chicago Bulls strength conditioning staff for one semester. Unpaid internship, but I got to work with the professional athletes. I got to work with some Hall of Fame strength coach, Al Vermeil, and some other tremendous coaches. And I really learned a lot there. I mean, I don't want to say it went against my college education, but they really opened up my eyes a lot more. They opened up more doors of opportunity than just what you read in the textbooks and these case studies. I always love the case studies in college. Like, you get a female, she's 45 years old, hypertension, this. And it's like, I mean, that's great for the case study, but what happens when that female comes in and she just doesn't feel like training, for that day? Like, how do you program that? So I get what the college and the universities are trying to do, but there's that real life situation too.
Absolutely.
So yeah, the Bulls really helped me out with that. And I thought I was going to go and become a strength conditioning coach. I actually had my master's program all signed up for Logan, Utah. I was going to go to Utah State University and get my master's there and then pursue strength conditioning. I guess there was this female, this woman in La Crosse, Wisconsin, that kind of drew my attention. And I decided to bail out on the master's program and pursue a relationship with her. And after 18 years of marriage, I'm sure glad I did that. So that's one of those rare moments where I made a good choice.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I worked a lot of like the gyms in the local area here, kind of being a personal trainer, being the front desk person. As many people probably listening right now know, that early in my career, I was also working a few other jobs. I'd be a personal trainer here, but then I'd be serving tables over there. And then I might be cooking at a restaurant over here, So like, it's really hard to pay the bills when you're just a personal trainer.
Yeah.
Sad to say, but Yeah, the way the system is set up, I mean, we have to rethink how we do training and how we do fitness for the general population. So again, I'm giving you the big oversight. I'm almost finished up here. I'm almost to where I am today. It's amazing the blessings that fall upon me. Like I don't really search for them, but they just come to me, right? So I was given this amazing opportunity to work at a corporate industry kind of thing, corporate fitness. They built a brand new wellness center. They put in all this new machinery, the free motion line. And so that was my first taste of that. And it was pretty amazing. There were the cable system pulleys. It wasn't traditional free weights, but it wasn't machine based, where you have to move in the certain parameters that the machine gives you. So I was like, wow, this is great. The great thing about this is that you're working with people with disabilities. So this company's mission was to hire people with disabilities. And so they built this wellness center. It was a nonprofit business. So they built this wellness center for the employees. So during the day, we would go and we had a schedule. We'd pick up the certain employees, bring them in, and we'd work them out for 30 minutes. They'd get that part of their work schedule. They got 30 minutes 3 times a week with us. And I think right there, I mean, I always tell people that this is before I had children. I have 3 beautiful children right now. So this is before I had children. And I always say that job actually helped me become a better dad, because you're working with people with different like ability levels and mental ability capabilities, emotional. So it was like being able to be patient with people. And it also made me a better coach, because there's so many things that you could say as a coach. I mean, I could just keep giving you coaching cue on top of coaching cue on top of coaching cue. But if I'm working with somebody that might not have that capacity to understand what I'm trying to say, I have to come up with a better way to coach. And so that really helped me out.
Definitely.
This job also gave me continuing education. So they would pay for me to go to places to learn more and to, as a fitness professional, I think a lot of us would agree. Sometimes we feel like we're on an island. And when we can be interactive with our peers, when we can network and when we can talk shop, that really fires us up. So there's just these certain, and I know FR has their thing yearly, and there's a Perform Better that I was always a big fan of. So I started going to this and I started networking. I just started getting more revitalized. And then there was more things I was starting to learn about. And I was starting to bring some of these concepts back to the gym that I was working at. And let's just say the president of the company, who was my direct supervisor, was not a big fan of what I was doing. Like some of this more, I don't want to say quote unquote functional, but there was more natural movement patterns, things like this. And it got to the point that she just told me I had to stop doing this or else. And I couldn't bring myself to doing it because I was working out in the same manner, because I'm always my first guinea pig. I want to make sure that what I'm giving people, I'm using myself, and does it make sense? Is it working? And I found out that my body was feeling better doing some of these movements, like some of these achy shoulders and backs were starting to improve. And then of course, these people that I was training as well, like they love these exercises. It gets stimulating with the neural system. So the brain and, on and on I could go. Well, I got fired. I mean, after a year of kind of fighting the system, I just got the hacks, and it was a curse and a blessing all at the same time. It was a short-term curse, but it ended up being quite the blessing, because prior to that moment, when I first got out of college and when I was newly married, I wanted to open a gym. I think most fitness people out there, whether they got their certification, their education, whatever it be, kind of your big thing is you don't want to be a person working at a box gym, being a personal trainer there. You want to have your own studio. You want to have your own thing. Mm-hmm. And so I told my wife, newly married, I'm like, I want to open up my gym. And she's like, absolutely not. She's like, you are not going to bankrupt us this early in our marriage.
Yeah.
And so she's like, you need experience. I'm like, I got experience. I've got a 4-year degree, internship with the Bulls. I know what I'm doing. She's like, absolutely not. So here I come to this point now where I've gotten all this experience. I was a manager at a small time club, worked at some of these other gyms. I was at this corporate fitness center for 9 years. So I've developed a little bit of who I am and what I'm doing.
Definitely.
So after I got fired, and kind of searching for a job, my wife finally turns to me. She's like, you're doing something really unique now with the fitness. Maybe it is time to pursue your own thing. And he was like, yeah, okay, cool. So I pursued it, and she's just like, basically, if God keeps opening up the windows and the doors, you keep going through. But as soon as that's shut, then that's going to be kind of your, like, that's the sign, right?
Yep, absolutely. Definitely.
So, again, I don't want to bore everybody with the history of like, here's Cory Cripe. But I got to the point then where I met an individual, Anthony Dix. I met him at a Perform Better in Chicago. And actually, Anthony lives in La Crosse, Wisconsin, same as me. And I was wearing a shirt one day that just said, so when I was in Chicago, I was wearing a shirt that said La Crosse Rugby. And he came up to me, he's like, is that La Crosse sport rugby sport, or is that La Crosse City rugby sport? I said, well, it's La Crosse City. He's like, I live in La Crosse. So we kind of gained an instant friendship right there. We had a lot of commonalities, same location. He's a full-time engineer at Train Company, a company up here that deals with a lot of manufacturing of air conditioners and heaters, commercial, home, things like this. But Anthony has a huge passion for fitness. So he kind of had his own little boutique gym going on, his own boot camp. And so when he found out I got fired, he took me out for lunch and we're just kind of discussing things. And I never really thought about it, but we just ended, went back. And one day as I was mowing my lawn, it hit me because I was thinking about starting my own business and what it would take. And it's like, it would be great if I could I didn't have any clients really at the time. So it'd be nice if I can kind of springboard, find somebody else that would want to collaborate. And I know Anthony's limiting factor is that fact that he also had a young family. He was a full-time engineer in a different profession. Like, he didn't have the time. And he wanted to grow his business. And I'm like, listen, I've got nothing but time. So his whole thing was that he was just doing group fitness things. He didn't have any personal training or anything like that. I'm like, we can include this now and we can build this up. And so, to tell you the truth, yesterday was the 7-year anniversary of Fitness Lying Down starting. So he had his he had his Cooley Region boot camp going, but as of November 1st, we kind of moved everything over to the Fitness Lying Down umbrella.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it was great. I mean, we had so many great growths. I mean, the location that he had was not the most optimal. So we actually moved into where we currently are right now, January of 2015. I think the great part about this is there's no street visibility. You drive by our building, you have no idea that we're here, right? I mean, there's no signs, there's no windows saying like, hey, here's Fitness Lying Down. We have grown our business based on a lot of referrals. We've done social media marketing, things like this, but it's like, we're in the second floor of this huge building. In order to find us, you had to commit to being here. You just didn't walk around and be like, I'm going to go check out that gym.
Yeah.
You actually have some skin in the game already because you had to walk upstairs. You had to maybe get lost because it's kind of amazing here. And all of a sudden you show up. So we know that you have a little bit more intent on you're joining our gym possibly, right? And so we went for, was it 5-ish years? And I ended up a couple of years ago, I bought Anthony out. So now I'm full-time owner of the Fitness Lying Down. And, all the stuff navigating through COVID, as most gym owners know. Yeah. And we've come out pretty clean. I mean, we're increasing our growth, we're increasing our space and things like that.
Where did the name come from? Like, what does that mean?
Okay. So that's a very popular question. And this is one of the reasons why, right? Like, you got Strong Fitness and gym this and gym that. And, I can be kind of snarky. I can be very sarcastic. And so I wanted to find a name, right? So there's kind of two stories to this. The first story is the boring story of, it is kind of a Fitness Lying Down experience in regards to, we want to start everybody kind of on the ground, right? And then we build them up. So the ground being the most stable environment, so you have better abilities to learn exercises, gain that strength. And I think we can agree that when people come to the gym, especially a lot of new people might be really intimidated. And I don't know, maybe some trainers don't jive with how I go, but I don't want to kill people on their first session. I want them to have a successful experience where they could be like, wow, I feel really good. I was able to do everything. I want to come back for more.
Yeah.
Instead of because this is fitness. I mean, I'm sorry, like I go off on tangents.
Yeah.
But I've been in this industry for over 20 years and I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I've been a part of the bad and the ugly, not so much of the good. And how many times did I work with clients for the first time and then they come back a couple of days later, like, I can't move. I'm like, God, that was such a good rate workout. Like we killed you,
Yeah.
And so that's what people start thinking, right? Because of jerks like me, they're like, well, fitness has got to hurt. So I just got to get over this soreness. But that's not right. And so when we talk to the clients, it's like, well, when we talk to our leads and all this stuff and our new FEOs, we're just like, we want you to feel good. Like, I want you to get done with your workout, feel refreshed, feel like revitalized, like, oh yeah, I can get on with my day. Not like I have to go puke and then take a nap, right? So that's kind of the fitness line down. The dull story is that, yes, we grow people from the ground, we bring them up. So a lot of people will say, it's kind of false advertising because we don't do a whole lot of lying down. It's like, well, yeah, okay. It's a matter of perspective, Yeah. The fun story is that I told you I got fired. And when I was telling you that my boss told me I had to stop doing all this stuff, because a lot of the things we were doing were kind of rolling on the floor, rocking, crawling. Well, my boss actually told me, my former boss said, Cory, you have to stop doing all this fitness lying down bleep. And so that kind of resonated with me. And when I had people that I was training being like, Cory, I've never seen this kind of stuff before. You should write blogs on this. I'm like, oh, maybe I will. So I went to WordPress and I bought my site and I put in, I'm just like, they're like, you should find a name that's going to be catchy and people are going to be intrigued by. I'm like, fitness lying down. And yeah. And then all of a sudden I get a call from WordPress asking me if it's an adult website.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's just like, but how fun was that? I mean, anytime anyway, that like when I was setting up the internet and whatever else I had to do to get the business going, I'm talking to these people like, what's the name of your business? I'm like, Fitness Lying Down. And it's hard to not say it with a smile. And then I would hear like, really? I'm like, yeah. They're like, you really lie down? I'm like, sometimes, so it's just, and so it's an icebreaker. And we hear so many people come in, they're like, I'm just intrigued, because it's a gym like no other gym in the area. I mean, we offer things that other people aren't offering and we're making people better.
That's what matters at the end of the day, obviously.
Pays the bills.
So, I'm wondering with, obviously you've gone through a lot of unique challenges, like to get to that point and stuff. And maybe this might be something more recent you can share on it, but something maybe that happened within running your business, like that was unexpected challenge that you had to go through. And how did you work through it? I mean, obviously this past year, I mean, yes, we've all had unexpected challenge, but maybe something a little more specific to you.
Yeah, that's, I'm just trying to kind of dial back on those challenges. I guess, oh boy, there's been no challenges. Business has been easy. I think a lot of it is more just trying to, the unexpected. I mean, I know when we first expanded 3 years ago, it was that moment. I mean, you have to have a leap of faith when you make expansions like this sometimes, right?
Absolutely.
And honestly, like our business is so like Spartan. I mean, we don't have anything sexy or flashy. We make good investment purchases on our equipment. So all the things that we purchase are at extreme valuable prices and we can get the most out of our equipment. So, and it doesn't take up a lot of space. But so like initially, man, it was great because overhead was so low. Like we became really profitable, but we had a small space and we were growing. And you had to make that decision of like, well, we're starting to get enough people that maybe we should knock down a wall. Unfortunately, we're in an area where we have room to expand.
Oh, that's good.
And it was just like, well, maybe let's pull that trigger. Let's see what happens. So you're to the point yet. I mean, you're not bursting down the walls yet, but you could see in the forecast that this could be a pretty good possibility. And so, yeah, we expanded. And prior to that, as I mentioned, I mean, we were doing really great. I mean, we were always in the black. Like every quarter, we were more profitable than we were expending. And I mean, our accountant loves us, right? Because we do well. And it's awesome. But all of a sudden, we had to hire 3 new people because we had expanded. So we're expanding hours. Not quite sure if that's going to work out for us or not. Fortunately, it did. But I just remember that first quarter of 2019, that was the first quarter after the expansion. And the membership numbers weren't, they weren't helping us out with the cost all of a sudden, and it's just like, oh, what are we doing wrong? And so we kind of had to relook at, and it wasn't the fact, you just had to be patient, right? Because, and we were patient, and all of a sudden, like, it feels like one of those, you build it, they will come kind of things, because all of a sudden people just started coming in, and our original, or our current clients at the time were just so excited. They were part of something that was getting bigger. It was like, it's because of them that we were able to do this, so there's some ownership on their part. And was that unexpected? No, that was somewhat planned, but just some of those things of not, so I think getting back to that original question is, you do this and it might not work out initially, but learning to be patient. Sometimes in this industry, there's too many shiny objects.
Yes.
And we lose ourselves. We lose the integrity of who we are, because if something's not working for a period of time, we have to really jump ship and try to find something else. And maybe we change everything we're doing. Sometimes that's necessary, right? Sometimes you have to make that decision. Like when I decided to buy out my business partner, he didn't want out, but that was a decision I made. And that was just something that we had to work with and work through. And fortunately, we were both able to come up with an agreement on that. But there's just times where it's like, if something's not working and you see it's not working for a long time, well, to say that this is the way we've always done it is not going to work for you either, right? So you do have to change that. But sometimes when we make some of these decisions and things aren't working our way right away, to just be patient with it, keep fighting that good fight. I think too, like, social media wise, right? How many people out there, as we talk about these influencers, right? How many people are out there that are just making their posts? We're making these humble posts daily if we can, weekly, if we can. And sometimes we fall behind, sometimes we keep it going. But then we look at these influencers, the people that we might not agree with, but we follow them, and they're getting all these likes, all these shares. And we're just like, man, we're not making a difference with our posts, But to keep at it, because how many times have I had people come into our gym that said, I've been watching your videos for like a year now. And they've never had an interaction with these videos, right? They've never liked, comment, or shared. And all of a sudden they just come out of nowhere and they're just like, yeah, I've been watching you guys for a while now. I think it's time that I start working out here.
Yeah.
So the patience, again, I hate to say it. I just cannot specifically think of something that, it's just a big moment. You just have those days where it's like, I think a lot of our gym owner friends here will kind of agree with me, and maybe not, maybe I'm just all by myself here. But how many times we own a gym, and one week, we are just sailing on cloud nine, right? Everything, nothing could go wrong. Mm-hmm. And then the next week we have 3 clients leave us. Something, we have to purchase something because something broke. And it's just, this is life. And I found out early on in my career of owning a gym, I took everything personally, right? Like so-and-so left. It's like, oh man, what did I do wrong? Like, how could I have kept them? Something happens to the building. It's like, oh, how could I have prevented that? But this is just, when I'm up on my ups, I try to keep an even keel. Like, I'm happy where I'm at, but I'm like, well, this isn't going to last long. And then when I'm down on my lows, hey, this isn't going to last long either. Things are going to turn around for us, and just try to stay in the middle of the emotional battles, because also too, if we're dealing with people, if I'm at my highs and I go to my clients and it's like, yeah, I'm so excited. And then the next week I'm just down in the dumps. That can't happen. A lot of people think in the fitness industry that we're in the exercise business, but we're not in the exercise business. We're in the people business. We build relationships with people, and a lot of people come to us now. We're not therapists, like mental therapists or emotional therapists, but how many people just unload on us, with all their problems and all their troubles? Like,
you build that trust up.
Absolutely. And we've earned that. And I try, my best thing I could do is not talk. Like, I just listen. And, because most times, I guess being married for 18 years, I've learned, I think, that a lot of people, when they start talking to you about their problems, they're not looking for you to fix them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just need somebody. And, it's amazing. And then another story about that too is we have one client that's been with us, and she's been with us for 6 years now. And one day she was telling me, she's like, Cory, I love coming to Fitness Lying Down. I'm like, thanks. That really means a lot. Like, I love hearing that. She's like, no, you don't know what I'm talking about. I'm like, okay. She's like, I love coming. Well, no, she's just like, I love coming to Fitness Lying Down. I'm like, oh, that, like, yeah, I'm so happy to hear that. She's like, shut up. You don't know what I'm talking about. I'm like, okay, can you tell me what you're talking about? Because I feel like I think I know, but no. And she goes, nowhere else in my day does anybody ever tell me I'm doing a good job. Nowhere else in my day does somebody say I look strong. Nobody in my day is lifting me up. She's like, I come here and I get that every time. And that's where it's like, wow, this is so much more than just reps and sets, Yeah.
Oh,
so
definitely.
Just being, not losing yourself. And I think that's the big important thing when you do start a business and keep that business going, is not to change the direction of who you are. Yeah, you might have to change some modalities. If a system's not working, you have to come to that honest realization that maybe you have to change that up. But it can't be just a knee-jerk reflex because you started a new ad campaign and week one came and you didn't get as many leads as you thought. It's just, people are weird. As much as we're in the people industry,
Absolutely.
People, including myself, are very weird.
I mean, I always said it's not like we're dealing with a product here where it's just like black and white, and you're dealing with people, and the people can be irrational sometimes.
Well, absolutely. And this is what I tell my coaches is when somebody walks through the door, we always ask them, we first greet them, and then it's always like, how are you doing? Right. And yes, I am concerned with actually, how are you doing? But I'm more concerned with how are you going to answer that? Right. So if somebody comes in like, hey, how you doing? Like, oh man, I'm doing great. Boom. Let's, okay, fine. Let's, maybe we can turn up the heat a little bit in their workout, just because they're there. But if somebody comes in like, hey, how you doing? And they're just like, I'm okay. It's those kind of signs tell us like, okay, maybe we have to, we don't have to ask them like, are you really okay? The parent, like, come on, what's wrong? Yeah. But, just to have that mental note of like, maybe we need to be a little bit smarter with what we're doing today. Maybe we need to dial it back a little bit. Maybe we have to like find, a time to just, hey, how, what's going on? So just having those, being able to find out those signs from the, the nonverbals, I guess, but those are kind of verbal cues, means the difference to how we program for the day. And that's like how we keep our clients engaged, because as you said, it's not a black and white product. People have ups and down days. So one of the reasons why I don't like doing, we don't do it anyway, but back in the day of sports training that we'd have the PR days, right? So you're going to come in and you're going to do your 1 rep max. And it's like, man, if my girlfriend just broke up with me and I feel like crap, I don't really want to hit my biggest weight. Or if I miss that weight anyway, even though I might feel like I'm ready to do it, if I miss that weight, think about it like that for a high school teenage boy or girl. The psychological is like, oh, I suck. I couldn't do that today. Even though I just did it last week, but when you're telling me to do it today, I couldn't do it, so and that's the one thing we share with all our clients is like, you come in, you need to let us know if something's wrong, if something's happening that maybe we should know more about. And I think that trust factor that we're talking about, we've gotten to the point in our business where people trust us so much that if they have an achy shoulder or a bad back or their knees are kind of not being a thing for them, they'll actually contact us in advance and just let us know about that. And they're like, I'm still coming in because I'm pretty sure that I'm going to leave feeling better because I know how you guys know what you're doing. Where for a lot of typical gyms, just, and not so much the training gyms that we're offering, but your box gyms, people that are paying like $30, $20 for a membership, they're like, my shoulder's a little achy. I'm just going to skip gym today. I'm going to skip the gym today and let it rest, and that might not be the best solution either. So we've got our clients so like trusting of us that they're going to come in, they're going to communicate with us, like my shoulder, maybe I slept on it wrong. I don't know. I don't even know what's happening, but 9.5 times out of 10, people will leave and just be like, oh, wow, I'm so glad I came in because I feel better. Like that feels so much better. I
love that. So, like, would you say that like how you keep your members engaged is just like rooted into your culture? And if so, obviously with your team, like how did you get your team on board with facilitating that type of culture?
You got to find the right people, right? Like I would like to say that, the environment and all that has kind of come from me because since I was the one that was here all the time in the beginning of the gym. So there's a lot of my personality in this gym. but I want to share that personality. So having our coaches, I keep saying blessed. And I mean, I can't overemphasize that. Our three coaches, one of our coaches was actually my original client from a long time ago. So she loves the system of our training. She is hook, line, and sinker. I mean, you have to get people that are enthusiastic about what you're doing, right? If I just hire a trainer off the street and they're just like, yeah, I know about working out. I got my personal training certificate or, whatever, but they're not bought into the system. Well, you can't give what you don't have, right? So if you're trying to give a client our exercises, our fitness, our system, but you don't quite know what you're doing or you don't have that enthusiasm, they're not going to benefit from it, right? And then the other two coaches we had, kind of like I think about Farmer League baseball teams, where they started as like, because our gym is really close to the university that I graduated from. So I have a relationship with the program. So we'll get kids that come down here, and I can't believe I'm already referring to them as kids, but it's true that I'm that old now, that they'll come and they'll do job shadows. They'll have like special credit requirements that they need to work at, kind of quote unquote work at the gym. That leads on to more things. Before you know it, I mean, they become interns for us, and they're just loving the system of our training. So our other two coaches kind of came from that. So how great is that for me, that as they were interning and volunteering, I got to teach them all this stuff for free. So now when they come on, that saves me a lot of time and money. I don't have to sit there and teach them the system, right? Like they already know, they're bought into it, because this is where they decided to do their job shadows and their internship, that it's like they're on fire for this. So having them so excited about our system of training adds to the environment, adds to the engagement of our clients, because our clients can tell that we're excited about it.
Oh, yeah.
And our clients become fans now too. Like this system, we follow what's called the DVRT system, the dynamic variable resistance training. A lot of using their ultimate sandbags, but we use the kettlebells, we use resistance bands, suspension trainers. We've got people so on fire for the system that they'll actually purchase like their own sandbags for their house.
Nice.
It's like, that's great. Like, and they talk about DVRT, and they know so much. Like we teach everybody about what's going on that they just get so excited. They tell all their friends and like, oh, I couldn't remember what DVRT stood for, but I'm trying to tell them what it's all about. And, it's just like, they're so enthusiastic about it. So once again, like you got to, in this day and age, it's got to be so hard to find the right coaches. Yeah. I'm so fortunate that we have what we have right now. And part of me is excited about the next coach that we're going to hire. I mean, I don't have any idea about that right now. So part of me is excited about that, but the other part of me is a little scared because I don't know if I'm going to be so fortunate and so blessed to have somebody that's come through the line of education, has learned about our system. That's now, I mean, it might be another one of our clients that ends up becoming one of our coaches, because they make some really good coaches.
Oh, definitely. I mean, like you said, they're 100% bought in. You don't have to sell them on that. And based on what I can understand of what you're going through and how you've established the culture in your business, I feel like you probably won't deal with finding a bad apple in that sense, because you have such a strong culture there that someone who doesn't fit in, I mean, it's gonna be felt and known right away.
Right.
I mean, it's hard. You can't fake that.
And that's the nice thing about having all these volunteers, is that sometimes we just have volunteers and they're not paid. So they'll just sit there and they'll have their arms crossed and they're just kind of watching. And I'll come up to them. I'm like, just to let you know, I have no problem with you just sitting there as a fly on the wall or just a bump on the wall. But at some point you might want a recommendation or a referral. And if you're not engaged, I can't give you that. Right. Mm-hmm. And then that also just sets me up for like, well, that person's not a good, that person I would never hire. So yeah, I would never call on them again. So I get to weed out that system. And what I love so much about our coaches is if you talk to them about the gym, about Fitness Lying Down, the way they respond to it, you would think they were the owners, right? Because they're just so bought in. I remember the one coach, she's like, hey, can I come in when we're closed and work out? I'm like, it's your gym. And it's like, as soon as I said that, her eyes, like, she's got the key to the facility. It's like, I can do all, like, I can use everything. Like, this is so great, and she just got so excited. Right. And our coaches will actually come in on their like times off, and they'll just sit and kind of because the atmosphere is so fun. Like they'll read a book or they'll work on whatever they're doing. And while people are working out, sometimes they come in because they want to hear how I'm coaching, because they feel like they can get some nuggets in there, whatnot. But yeah, it's so great that we've created this culture that people actually just want to come here and hang out.
That's awesome. I mean, and that's, unfortunately, I think that's definitely the goal I think everyone strives for, but it isn't the norm in most cases to have that type of like close-knit culture within your team itself. So I mean, that's definitely like props to you for like facilitating that and nurturing that and allowing it to flourish and not stifling it.
Oh man, you just said that, not stifling it, right? My gym will be so much better when I'm not in the way. So, yeah. And, just case in point of how, I just feel like this is a podcast about how great we are, and we have our own faults. Trust me. There's things like our coaches will point out things that I've done wrong. And I mean, we keep each other accountable. But this last year, I actually took over 2 weeks of time off, like together, right? Wow. Never in the history of my life have I ever taken so much time off. And there was some correspondence back and forth with the gym, just like a few. Mainly, it was me, like, "Hey, how are things going?" Because it's like parents. Anybody that's a parent out there, that when you finally take your spouse out for dinner or something like that, all you can talk about is your kids, right? So, yeah. But the whole time, even though like every now and then I would like ask how things are going, I had no issues. Like there was no part of me like, I don't know if like I'm scared what's going on in my gym right now. Like I was able to be in full relaxation mode, knowing that my gym was being taken care of better than I could take care of it.
That's awesome.
So that is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because that is the point of having a business. It's supposed to be an asset to your life and adding value, not being a liability and like taking away from your life. Absolutely. It should be adding more value to yours and everyone else's life. So I mean, that's fantastic, and that's really great to hear that. Now I understand you're also you're expanding into more the nutrition side of things. So could you fill us in on that and how you're rolling that out?
Yeah, so I apologize. So if anybody can hear all that stuff, and I don't know if they can hear, I can hear it. There's some banging in the background because once again, after 3 years, we're knocking down some more walls, right? So we're expanding our gym even more. One of our coaches, Megan, she's got all the degree in education of fitness that I have. Well, that wasn't enough. She really had like a heart for nutrition. So she went back to school for dietetics. She got her registered dietitian, or she became she got her degree in dietetics. She passed her board exam. So now she is a full-fledged registered dietitian. And so she's coaching and doing nutrition for us. And it's such a beautiful thing because like, I want to hold on to our coaches as long as I can, right? Yeah, like,
absolutely.
I do not want to lose these people. And they know it too. So I'm not saying this and come back and be like, hey, it's time for that raise. So Megan is getting her own nutrition room. I mean, we're going to have a quasi kitchen in there for food prep demos, things like that. We're going to have space that she can meet with people. We have one-on-one. We're going to be moving into kind of a group, like a 6-week group nutrition program too. So people can get in and learn about a topic with other people for 6 weeks. So this is something really exciting. And I tell you, once again, I'm trying not to get in the way. Like I'm giving Megan as much ownership into this room. So I'm allowing her to kind of choose the colors, choose whatever, however she wants to roll with this, she can roll with it. I'm there to support her. So for her, this is such a great deal because now she basically starting her own nutrition program, her own nutrition business, but I'm financing it. Right. So it's like, she can do all the fun stuff and I'm just going to sit there and pay for it and, and receive some profit from it. But I'm just excited because my wife's a registered dietitian and I know how much the importance of nutrition with health and fitness. Right. Mm-hmm. And I also know because of my wife that I don't know what I don't know. So I can't sit here and be a pretender telling people like about eating right and things like that, because especially when it comes to food and relationships with food, it is so much more than eating less and moving more. I mean, we were tricked into that, but that's not, people are doing unsustainable things to their bodies and, it's not good for their health. So offering this service now for our clients, for anybody that's just in the area that's looking to meet with a registered dietitian and not have to go through the red tape of the hospital and paying for all the overhead and stuff like that the hospitals are charging and all the insurance. I think I'm pretty sure we're the only gym in La Crosse that is giving you a registered dietitian to meet with. So this is very exciting. So we're already starting this. We're just waiting for the room to be completed. So the office that I'm currently in, usually I'm not in this office. I get kicked out because she's meeting with the nutrition people, and I'm okay with that right now.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing.
But it'll be nice to reclaim my office.
Yeah, no, definitely. So how are you working that into your service? Is it going to be like a completely separate thing, or is it built into the membership, or like what does that structure look like?
It's going to be an add-on. So people have the opportunity. I mean, if they just want to meet with Megan for one session with a follow-up, they could pay a one-time cost, meet with her for an hour, get that follow-up, good to go. For our clients, or for kind of a membership, if you will, you can choose to meet. So we're doing a 6-month program because I think we can all agree that you're not going to learn everything you need to know in nutrition in like 4 weeks, right? So this is going to be a process. So it'll be a 6-month membership, or it is a 6-month membership. And you could choose to meet with her once a month, twice a month, or 4 times a month. And just moving forward. So for people, that's an a la carte onto their already existing membership if they want to add that on. So, and then for other people that come in that are non-members, obviously that'll be just a little bit more per membership, and then we have some special deals and things like that. So we're running a 6-week promotion right now for fitness, but we're actually including a few nutrition sessions just kind of on the house, if you will, to get more people excited about this.
Okay, that's awesome.
Because that was one of the things is that I really wanted to get the nutrition program going. So I was doing a 6-week program just based on nutrition only. And the valued cost, I thought the valued cost was extremely generous, but I think a lot of the general population out there, they don't know how to value nutrition, right? So if we give them fitness, they can kind of understand that because they see the other gyms and they know how much personal training costs, and they can kind of make up for themselves how much they're willing to spend for something. But when it comes to nutrition, I think a lot of people just don't quite understand like the value of having a good program. This is not just you're just a person in the crowd, you're just a number, and we're going to treat you like you're everybody else, right? So when we were running a 6-week just on that, and that's what we were finding out from the people. So this is kind of one of those moments where it's like unexpected, right? Because I thought this was going to be great. I thought people were just going to charge in on this promotion, and we really didn't get a lot of people. And most of the people said, you know what? It's more money than I'm willing to commit. And it's like, oof, okay. So I had to make a decision, do I just stop fully the nutrition thing or, marketing, or, do I do something else? Because it's not the fact that what we're doing is not worth the value. It's just that people don't have that perception yet. So I kind of had to reroute the marketing, go back to offering the fitness, but adding those few other sessions with nutrition so people could just at least get in front of Megan and hear what she has to say and find out that this is a whole different program than what they might be used to in the other diet mentality, diet cultures, all those fad diets. All the information is out there. You can go to YouTube and learn how to lose 5 pounds in a week, but is it going to be sustainable? Is it actually going to help your health?
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of those moments. Like maybe there it is right there. Like, how do I deal with a circumstance that was unforeseen? Because I'm just sitting there like, this is going to be golden. Like, we're going to get super busy in the nutrition program because people are just going to be biting on this ad. And it actually backfired on me a little bit. So kind of had to re-engineer things. And now people are just like, oh, I'm so excited to have these extra nutrition sessions. So, I guess if we're speaking to the fitness professional, you get the people that are doing that. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, like I see the value on this. I'm going to add on a nutrition session a month just so I can keep this ball rolling with Megan, so I can keep that accountability, so I can, keep making better decisions and having better strategies for different situations.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it makes sense. You have to obviously hook them in with what matters to them, and then you can facilitate the rest of it, type of thing. And this kind of like, you kind of been keeping a same theme throughout, like obviously this whole conversation too, of like you even brought up in the beginning of how like, which is a really good lesson of the patience factor. And as a business owner, especially if it's something like this, that it does make sense for you to go down this path, and it's something that you're passionate about, and it's only going to add more value to your business, then there's a solution to make this work. It's just navigating and finding the right solution and then pushing into that, which is like, that's something that that should be applied to every area of your business.
Life in general, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything. I mean, if you have that mentality of like, okay, I may not necessarily know exactly how this is going to work, but I know this is the direction that I'm going. So the solution, I mean, will present itself through action and doing things and being aware of what isn't and what is working. And you get there. I mean, it's just a matter of time. But
and I think too, like, I love the image of rolling a boulder down a hill, right? So everybody just waits until the perfect moment. Like, I'm going to open up my gym when all the stars are in line and, the moon is there. But sometimes you just have to get the ball rolling and then guide the ball down the hill.
Yeah.
Just direct it and how it's going. So don't let perfection be the enemy of good, so just, and like you said, I mean, maybe that's been the theme, and that's just me personally. Well, I'm an impatient person too, but I'm also I have a long-term vision on this. And, I mean, I guess if you look at in the fitness industry, for somebody that has a business for 7-10 years, like, that's dinosaur age now in the fitness industry.
Yeah.
But it's, and I'm not going to take anything for granted, especially after 2020. I can't take my business for granted that it's always going to be like it is. I have to keep fighting for it. I have to keep making the right decisions. When I make bad decisions, I have to learn from that and just keep charting forward. Right. So, and yeah, being patient and just not waiting. You think about, one person told me this quote, or I don't know what you'd call it, but, it seems like the luckiest person is the person that works the hardest.
Yes.
So yeah, it's all these blessings that I keep talking about. I mean, they are blessings. They're all gifts, but you have to prepare your field for the rain in order for there to be growth. You just can't wait for the rain and be like, oh, I hope that I get a whole bunch of plants, right? You have to make sure that you're doing the work, you're fertilizing, and you're just getting the soil ready.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I completely agree. And, which at least might be a good segue into that, because it's been an amazing conversation learning about your business. And I think just and that's what people need, like, as you guys are listening to this, and you're hearing like these stories that we do and how people are navigating their business, listen deeper. Like, it's more than just the story of what they're telling us of what they've been doing, like Cory and what he's been doing in his business. It's like, pay attention to like how we've like pulled out like a theme of what he's talking about here, like of what is really bigger picture ideology, I guess, if you will, that you can start applying to your business in areas of how you live and how you operate. And that's really what we want you to get out of these stories. So, I mean, like, this has definitely been a fantastic conversation for that. But this might be tying into a little bit of what we've just been talking about recently. But as we work towards wrapping up the conversation, like I mentioned to you before, I like to end with like you kind of sharing kind of like an insight or word of advice to a gym owner, say, that was coming to you for support on their path. Like, what do you feel that gym owners should hear if it's something different than what we've been talking about?
Right. I think I got this from Justin Grinnell, and it really resonated with me because we always talk about this passion. And I think you used it a couple times in this conversation, and it's easy to talk about passion. But I think this is the reason for the failings of a lot of people in the industry. I was almost there because I'm passionate about this, right? When you see me on the floor, and hopefully when you hear this conversation, you can hear it in my voice, how passionate I am to make people better and how passionate I am to find the right team to help me. But your passion has to turn into purpose, right? Because passion, I mean, that's an emotion, and that emotion will fizzle out and fade. That's why they always say, like, love is a verb. Love is action. Love is not just a feeling, right? So in order to be in love with the same person for 18 years, I had to learn that that's an action term, not just a feeling term. Because if it was all about feelings, I would have, there'd have been a lot of times where I know she would have left me before I would have left her. But when it comes to the industry, we have to take that passion and we have to find out how to make that our purpose now. So there's still passion, don't get me wrong. And as we talked about, there's those days I walk in where I could just tell this week is not going to be the week. I'm going to have to really struggle through. And I'm going to use that word. There's days where I just have to struggle and I feel like I'm just running uphill and I just can't catch up to anything. And, maybe I lose a client here, maybe I lose a client there, something happens. One of the coaches gets sick, I have to fill in, just like there's those moments, right?
Yeah.
But because it's my purpose, I'm not gooey, gushy feeling about this business. I have that, but that's not what sustains me. It's understanding that this is my purpose. This is what I've been called to do. And because of that gives me more freedom. So I can accept those bad weeks now. I can accept when things are really crappy because I know it's not going to be like that forever.
Yeah. You're looking at
and then when I find out that I'm having the best week and all of a sudden, like I got 1 million FEOs in 1 week and I'm just like, life is great. Guess what? If this is my purpose, then that's a gift to me, right? Like I can't squander that gift. I'm going to do the best I can with that gift. I'm going to make as much of a difference in people's lives as I can. If I can keep them, great. If I can't for whatever reason, I'm going to try. And I think my FR coach actually helped me out with this, doing the exit interviews, right? Find out why are people not signing up or why are people leaving? Mm-hmm. And we actually have a pretty good retention rate. I'm going to be proud of that. But when somebody does not want to, is it financial? And if it's financial, I try to peel that onion just a little bit more because usually there's more than just financial, right? Mm-hmm. Or any other thing, just to make sure that we stay on top of what we're doing. But I just want to tell anybody that this might not be like, oh man, that's not really helping me at all. But like I was hoping he's going to give me the magic trick. There is no magic trick. There is no silver bullet here, right? No. You just have to be able to grind it out. And like I said, I know for sure when I've accepted this to be my purpose in life, like I said, I have the freedom to accept the bad days and I have the freedom to accept the good days as a gift. And that way I can stay even keeled and I can be, as we've talked about, patient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could not agree more. Because it's like if you're going after creating something that's like a legacy business, if you will, like you can't make permanent decisions off of temporary emotions, because it's never going to lead you in a good path. You're going to be all over the place.
No, and it's such a temptation too.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It absolutely is.
Like it's always those moments when I know I want to honor your time, and I told you I talk. It's always those moments. It seems like when things are the lowest and like you need money, that all of a sudden like something pops up in your social media feed, like, spend this amount of money and you're going to become a six-figure fitness professional. It's like, oh, I will. Oh man, I should do that because I need to make money right now.
Yeah.
And it's like scam.
Yeah. There will never be a shortage of that.
No, there won't. And it always it's so ironic. Like it always seems to pop up those moments that I feel like I need it the most.
Yeah,
but
no, definitely. It's building that self-discipline,
right,
to stay your course. So I mean, that's fantastic. I love that message, and I think that's obviously a very positive way to, powerful way to wrap up this conversation. And Cory, I thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and your dedication to your business and also this industry. We really appreciate that.
Oh, thank you so much. That was just kind words, and I'm very humble and honored that you invited me on.
Definitely. I mean, like I said before, the pleasure is all ours. I mean, it's truly been a great conversation. And if there's anybody listening that would like to dive a little bit deeper into this conversation with you and like uncover a little bit more of like your steps, or like if they just resonated with what you're saying and they want to talk with you a little bit more, where's the best place for them to connect with you?
Yeah, no. So email wise, they can reach out to me. It's pretty simple. Fitness lying down, all one word, @gmail.com. So fitnesslyingdown@gmail.com. You can find me on the social. I'm on the Instagram and the Facebook as Cory M. Cripe. M as in Michael. And you can also just follow our gym on social, Fitness Lying Down, Instagram and Facebook.
Excellent. And as always, if you guys are driving or working out while listening to this, we'll have those links in our show notes so you can easily connect with Cory, which, I mean, if you feel pulled to, we encourage you to do it. I mean, that's how doors open up and opportunities present themselves when you take that first step and just reach out and ask.
Right.
So thank you again, Cory. And of course, thank you guys to you, the listeners, tuning into this, because obviously we wouldn't have a show without you. And I'm also really happy that you're looking for ways and resources to improve your business, which is vital to your success. You have to. And now, like, the most important thing, like we said before, is like taking the information from this and applying it. It's like, now that you've listened to this, like, digest it. And if you have to listen to it again, take notes, and then apply what makes sense to your journey, because that's where you get the actual value, is in the application, not just absorbing it. So with that being said, I look forward to having you guys join us on the next episode of the Fitness Business Freedom Show. Thank you so much, and take care. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode on the Fitness Business Freedom Show. On behalf of Fitness Revolution and myself, we are thrilled you are looking for ways and resources to move your business forward, and we are honored to be that source for you. If you would like to receive more business building support from us, be sure to head over to the show notes and join our subscriber list and stay on top of all the industry insights that matter most to you. Now, before I close out today's show, if you found this episode beneficial in any way, I just ask you to leave us a simple review to help other gym owners find us and discover this show. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the next episode of the Fitness Business Freedom Show.